Great Ogoni people, great. Bene Ogoni, Buenka. Bene Ogoni, Buenzo. Bene Ogoni, Kalinebari. Today is November 10, and I want to talk about the last hours of Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others. But before I do that, I have to pay a second silence in their memory, in remembering and in honoring them for the sacrifices they paid on our behalf. I pray that may their souls rest in peace, and as Ken Saro Wiwa said in his last words, let the struggle continue. Yes, today, like I said, is November 10. And for those who don't know, November 10, 1995 was the day that our great leaders, Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others, were hanged by the brutal Nigerian military dictator. And that Friday, November 10, 1995, will go down as a day of infamy in the annals of Nigerian history. The day that life was just cut short. Great men were dehumanized. Great men were humiliated from the surface of the earth. I want to say that, you see, Jesus Christ, he died for our spiritual salvation. But as an Ogoni man, Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others died for our political and economic salvation. You know, Jesus said in the book of John chapter 15 verse 13, he said, greater love than this, that a man should lay down his life for his friends. Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others, they laid down their lives for the Ogoni people, for the Niger Delta, for the oppressed minorities in Nigeria and in the entire world. They stood up against oppression. You know, sometimes it looks as if people have forgotten, but I want to state it that the Ogoni struggle is about justice against injustice, truth against lies, light against darkness. That is what the Ogoni struggle is all about. So if you stand on the truth, then you stand on the side of the oppressed. You will stand with Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others that laid down their lives. So Ogoni struggle is all about the truth. It's all about justice. That is what we want. So I will go into giving you just a brief step by step the last hours of this great man. You know, many youths of late, honestly, some of them do not know how it happens and what actually transpired the last hours. But I want to say, and I want to pay honor. I want to honor Ken Saro Wiwa. I want to honor Barebo Bera. I want to honor John Kune. I want to honor Dr. Barinem Kyobe. I want to honor Nodu Iyewo. I want to honor Daniel Boko. I want to honor Felix Nuate. I want to honor Paul Levera. I want to honor them. Saturday Dobe. I want to honor them because they laid down their lives. These great men laid down their lives. So now, let's go. You see, I've been talking about November 10, but today I just felt I should give a brief account of what transpired in their last hours, how it happened. You know, after the tribunal judgments where they were sentenced to, where they were convicted, they gave them 30 days to appeal, and they were in that process. So, by November 8th, the Provisional Ruling Council of Nigeria, then, that was the toughest military cabal that were holding the system, they've met, and the military administrator then, Dauda Kumu, flew into Abuja, met with Abacha and the rest. He briefed them on the security situations in Rivers State. So they met, and that was when they finalized the ruling that they've accepted the verdict of the Kangaroo Tribunal, and that Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others should be hanged. And I can vividly recall, it sticks in my head because I listened to NTA News. I was very young then, so I listened to NTA News, and General Victor Malu then, he spoke on behalf of the Provisional Ruling Council, and he said that yes, they've accepted the verdict of the court and that they should be hanged. So that day was something else. Now, after that, so when the Provisional Ruling Council met, they gave the military administrator, Dauda Musa Komo, they gave him 24 hours to execute Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others. So Komo flew back to Port Harcourt. So what happened was that 7 hangmen were flown from Sokoto down to Rivers State. They were lodged in a very executive hotel in Port Harcourt. They stayed there for about a week before the day of execution. So Komo was given 24 hours to execute these people. But because in the history of Port Harcourt and in the South, we don't hang people. That has never happened before. There was no gallows where those men could be hanged. So it was not delayed because they had to construct a gallows and those things for them to successfully hang these great men. So that delayed the hanging for 48 hours. If not, they were supposed to be hanged on November 9. So that delayed the hanging. So until November 10th. Now, prior to this time, Ken Saro Wiwa has been complaining that he is not a military man, and so they should transfer him or them from the military cell at Bori Camp. They should transfer them from there because they were at the military camp at Bori Camp. So they should transfer them from there to a civilian cell. That is the only request that Ken Saro Wiwa made. They should transfer them from there because the torture and the pain was so much at the military cell, so they should take them to a civilian cell. So on that November 10th, by 9:30 a.m., I want to tell you what transpired between 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 when these men were buried. So by 9:30 a.m., they told Ken Saro Wiwa, pick up their things and then we are moving. So there were 4 of them that were there. So they took the 4 of those that were there, Ken Saro Wiwa, I think Barebo Bera, John Kune, and Dr. Barinem Kyobe. So they took them from there They got into the Black Maria, and then they drove them down. Now, it was Como was aware of the hanging. But even Major, what do they call it, Umar Obi, who was the chief jailer, the one that took over from Okontimo, he didn't know. It was that very day that he was instructed, he was told that these men were about to be killed, because he will be there to witness. So what happened was that they drove them. So then Ken Saro Wiwa and others, they thought that, okay, finally, because they told them they are taking them to Port Harcourt prison. So they thought, okay, their request to be transferred from a military cell to a civil cell has been granted. They got into the Black Maria, and then they moved. Now they took them to Moscow Road, the police headquarters there, because 5 other men were detained there. Now those other 5 men joined them in the same Black Maria, and then they drove them to Port Harcourt prison. Now when they got to Port Harcourt prison, the Black Maria drove in, and then used his back into the compound. So the back door, when they stopped, the door was swung open, and then Ken Saro Wiwa and others marched out. They were all in handcuffs and in shackles. So they lined in a single file, and they were moving. Ken Saro Wiwa was leading them, and they were moving. So they asked them to move into a convict cell. They wrote on that cell CC, a convict criminal cell. They asked them to move into that cell. In that very cell, in the hallway, was a long wooden bench. They asked them to sit there. When they asked them to sit there, they didn't tell them, they sit there and wait for further instructions. That's what they told them. Then Como has already instructed the hangmen to be in the Port Harcourt prison as early as 6 a.m. So they were already there. Now Como himself, when he ordered those men, Como himself appeared. Como was there to witness, because they were like, they didn't trust anything that could happen there. Maybe they were going to switch them over and then save those men. So Como was there to witness. Justice Dauda, the man who, that convicted them, he was there. Justice, what do they call it? Alta was there. The man was there. And then this other man, Umar Obi, they were all there to witness the hanging of Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others. So when the hangmen went to take custody of Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others, the prison warder said no, that there is no death warrant, there's no warrant. They've not seen any warrant for them to release these men into their custody to be hanged. So the men quickly told Como what has happened. So Como, with this thing, they just drafted some stupid this thing, and gave to them to go and give to those hangmen. So to go and give to the prisoners. Sorry, I'm becoming more emotional, because each time I remember this thing is painful. To go and give to the prison officers. Now, when they gave to the prison officers, they looked at it and they said that no, the signatures are not complete. So they rejected it. Now, the hangman had to inform Como again that this is what has happened. So Como immediately contacted Abacha in Abuja, and Abacha quickly sent a death warrant from Abuja, signed by him from Abuja, sent a cameraman with them in a private jet immediately to fly down to Port Harcourt. So they flew down to Port Harcourt, and then they now submitted the death warrant from Abacha to the prison warders, and those men, they had no choice than to release them for hanging. Now, where Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others, they've stayed there. Imagine this hour, from like 9:30 thereabout or 10 o'clock that they arrived there. They were there, they delayed these men, so they were even confused. What was happening? Why is it that up to now, because their expectations were that maybe they will be allocating them to their cells. So they were just patiently waiting. But these men never knew that their end was at hand. So finally what happened was that Ken Saro Wiwa heard his name. They called Ken Saro Wiwa's name. In that handcuffs and in the shackles, in the manacles and everything, Ken Saro Wiwa moved to the room where he was called from. So when he moved into the room, the first sign he noticed was a priest standing some meters away from him, and the priest was holding Bible in his right hand. So Ken he didn't talk, he just kept mute and looked at them. So it dawned on him that this is the final hour. So while he was there, now he saw a sheriff who represented the junta, and then the hangmen were there. So finally, what happened was they came to him. They removed the manacles on his legs, the shackles. They removed it, so left with the handcuff. So the sheriff, the priest, moved closer to him, prayed for him, and asked the Lord Jesus to forgive him his sin. So the sheriff now came close to him and then presented the death warrant before him to see, and read it out loud for Ken Saro Wiwa to understand, and that his appeal, because they gave him 30 days to appeal, his appeal has been rejected, and that he must die by hanging. Now, when that happened, so Ken Saro Wiwa was stoic. He looked at the sheriff. He didn't move. He was like motionless. He looked at him intensively. He looked at this man. So it like in form of intimidating him in a way. So the man was even confused. So the only people that interfered was now the hangman. So okay, now before that, they asked him to what we should tell them his last wish. What do they want? So he asked that they should bring his wife. The wife he married that time, Hawa. He asked them to bring the woman because she was in Port Harcourt, and they said no. He told them, okay, they should bring his father. He wants to see his father, so he could hand over his leather bag and then his pipe to his father. They said no, that he has to enter whatever he wants in a ledger, so that finally they will hand over those things to his father at a later date. So he had no option. He had to write those things down and then handed over everything. So the hangman now came in and blindfolded him with the black hood, and then they lifted him and hit him on the ground, and that was a first floor, because that floor already was a first floor. So they tied the nose to his neck, and then they went into action. So when they operated the pulley that was supposed to open the ground, and then so he'll be hung and he will fall in and break his neck, and nothing happened. So there was confusion. They tried again, nothing happened. But this is just a pulley that they've used to, they just used to try some dummies that were filled with the sand. So how comes it's not working on Ken Saro Wiwa? They tried again, nothing happened. So they asked Ken Saro Wiwa to go back. So Ken Saro Wiwa went back. So when he returned to the cell room where his fellow comrades were sitting on the wooden bench, he now broke the news to them. He told them this is their last hour. He told them what happened behind the closed doors. So some of them started crying of their innocence. Why would they be killed? They are innocent. And then Ken Saro Wiwa told them, wouldn't they be proud to die for their people? And that they should look that when they die for their people, that they will be remembered. It won't just go that way, that it will be in the history of their people and they will be remembered forever. So those men wiped their tears and told him they won't cry again. So that was how they consoled, Ken Saro Wiwa consoled them. Now, for them to try some other thing, so they called John Kunen. Now when they called John Kunen went in, he was hanged, he died. So they came back again for Ken Saro Wiwa. They tried again on Ken Saro Wiwa. It didn't work. Nothing happened. They were shocked. Could it be that God was so angry with the killings of these innocent people? What was happening? They were confused. They sent back Ken Saro Wiwa again. They called Bible bearer. And that young man died peacefully and left. After that, they called Dr. Barenem Kyobel. You know, Barenem Kyobel had lived almost all his adult life in the UK. And he just came back home in 1993. He was appointed the commissioner. And he didn't even know much about what was going on. So when Ken saw Dr. Barenem Kyobel being called away, that was when Ken Saro Wiwa broke down and cried. Ken broke down and cried. And he said, what sort of a country is this that kill their illustrious sons because they want a better life for their people? Why are they treating him like this? Why are they treating these people like this? Ken Saro Wiwa broke down and cried. So after the death of Barenem Kyobel, Ken Saro Wiwa offered himself to go. He couldn't take the pain anymore. Because having seen your men disappearing, Ken Saro Wiwa couldn't take it again. So Ken Saro Wiwa offered himself to go. So when he walked in there, like he said, why are they treating him like this? Why are they killing them? Because they want a better life for their people. And he said that, Lord, if it be that his death is going to liberate Ogoni people, God should allow him to die. He said the spirit of Ogoni, they should leave him, they should allow him to die. And he said God should allow him to die. So finally, they tie everything again, blindfold him again, and tie the nooks and things. And so they set the pulley again, and this time it worked. So while Ken was dangling on the rope, and that was when he said, Lord, take my soul, but let this struggle continue. And then they let him, and he fell into the 6 feet deep pit. And you know something? Ken, because of the life, because of everything that was in him, they had to torture this man. He didn't die immediately like others. He was shaking, and his eyes bulged out. His tongue came out also, and he was shaking. So they said it took almost about 20 minutes. They tortured him before finally he died. And then they hanged the rest. Then the Como immediately ordered a doctor to come and certify if Ken Saro Wiwa was dead or not. Their main target was Ken Saro Wiwa. And then the doctor certified him dead. And then from there, they didn't end there. They said, no, they don't want any resurrection like Jesus Christ. Pour acid on them. And that is where they took them from there. And before that time, they've already bought coffin from Bundu Waterside. So they poured acid and everything on them in their grave. I'm just giving you a brief story of the last hours of Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others. That was how these 9 men died and went back to their maker. That was how these great men laid down their lives for the Ogoni people, the Niger Delta, the minorities that are oppressed in Nigeria and all over the world. So my question to the Ogoni people today, in your heart, does the struggle still continue? Because Ken has told God, take my soul, but let this struggle continue. I don't always like to remember that. That's why for long I've not even talked about this last hour, because I'm always emotional when it comes to this very last hours of Ken Saro Wiwa. So the question I'm asking Ogoni people today, in all you are doing, in all your activities, do you still have the struggle in your heart? Does it still continue in your own heart, in your heart? Does it continue? You have to understand where we are coming from and where we are heading to. These are basics or cardinal things you need to know. You haven't passed through all this, haven't understood how our men laid down their lives for us. Isn't it worthwhile if we stick together and bring home the very reason for their death? You know, I want to say something. Nigeria that you see will never know peace. Do you know why Nigeria will never know peace? Because Nigeria murdered peace. The day they murdered Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others, these peaceful men that needed peace for the country, that was the day you murdered peace. So if you like, go around the world, Nigeria will never have peace until Ken Saro Wiwa and 8 others are exonerated, until Ogoni Bill of Rights is implemented to the letter. Nigeria will never know peace. That peace, they won't find it. That peace, Nigeria can never find that peace. Because you kill those who wanted peace. So when you kill those who wanted peace, it means you want chaos. It means you want trouble. And look at the trouble you are in today. And you will continue to be in much more trouble. Because you don't want peace. You murdered peace. So if you want peace, you must exonerate these great men that you lied against, that you conspired against. You must exonerate them. And you must implement Ogoni Bill of Rights. And to the Ogoni people, be steadfast. Don't believe in any message that is against the Ogoni Bill of Rights. Anything outside the Ogoni Bill of Rights is unacceptable. These men laid down their lives for you, for your sake, for you to be politically and economically free from the hands of your oppressors. So we must acknowledge them. We must appreciate this effort. It is not easy. Can you die for your people? It's a question. Can you die for your people? Can you die for Ogoni people? I want to end here. And I pray that may God help us Ogoni people. I mean, we understand that the reasons for their death was for our own sake.
Recognizes the rights of all the world's indigenous people.
That's the voice of Ken Saro Wiwa.
People have been cheated through laws such as our operation in Nigeria today, through political marginalization. They have driven certain people to death. That happened in America and in Australia. They're trying to repeat it in Nigeria, and we do not want it. In recovering the money that has been stolen from us, I do not want any blood spilt. Not of an Ogoni man, not of any strangers amongst us. We are going to demand our rights peacefully, non-violently, and we shall win.
He was a peaceful man that never wanted blood spilled. Not of an Ogoni man or any strangers among us. I'll close this broadcast with Leko Ose, November 10th. It's always an emotional moment when you understand how these noble men laid down their lives for the Ogoni people and others. All they wanted was political autonomy so that they can control themselves politically and use a fair share of the economic resources from their land for their people, because everything was taken away from us. And to date, we still don't have nothing. Let this struggle continue in your heart. Let it continue in your heart so that Ogoni can be